Southeast Asian nation whose landscape spans low-lying plains, the Mekong Delta, mountains, and the Gulf of Thailand coastline. It lies completely within the tropics of its southernmost points, slightly more than 10 degrees above the equator. It has land area of 181,035 square kilometers, and about 20% is used for agriculture. The country mostly has a tropical climate, and its capital city is Phnom Penh. Phnom Penh is home to the Art Deco Central Market, glittering Royal Palace, and the National Museum's historical and archaeological exhibit. Cambodia's form of government is set up as a multi-party democracy under a constitutional monarchy. The king serves as the head of the state, and the prime minister is the head of the royal government of Cambodia. Cambodia's key natural resources are gemstones, gas, oil, phosphates, manganese, iron ore, and timber. Materials used in building structures are bricks, laterite, wood, and sandstone. Theravada Buddhism is the official religion in Cambodia, which is practiced by 95% of the population. It is also known as Doctrine of the Elders. 4% of the population are being active on Christianity and Cham Muslim. Among the Chinese people, Taoism and Confucianism are commonly practiced. There are 8 gestures of Buddha, or also known as the Maitreya. The first one is the Vitkak Maitreya Buddha. It is a Buddha sitting across legged with one hand laying atop the other, with palms facing upwards. Vitkak means contemplating or concentrating. The second one is the Madvirakche Maitreya Buddha. It is a Buddha sitting cross-legged with the right hand turned palms inward and the fingers pointing to the earth, the left palm resting on the thigh. It is also known as the calling the earth to witness. The third one is the Dharmakak Maitreya Buddha. It is a Buddha sitting cross-legged and making the 4 fingers of right palm into a circle, and the left hand sometimes cups the right or foot on the thigh. Dharmakak means to pray like a wheel. The fourth one is the Akhe Maitreya Buddha. It is a Buddha either standing up or sitting cross-legged with the raised right palm as if stopping someone in front. The left hand points down parallel to the body. Akhe means fearlessness. The fifth one is the Burak Maitreya Buddha. It is a Buddha putting down both the right and left hands at his side with both palms facing the front. He sometimes sits cross-legged or stand up. The sixth one is the Bhakratin Maitreya Buddha. It is a Buddha standing clasping his butt or Buddha's elbow. Upturned bowl in many Buddhist countries can signify death. The seventh one is Sakyanak Maitreya Buddha, the Buddha reclining. The Buddha sleeps by turning his body to the right side and left leg put over right one. This shows his entrance to nirvana, the point at which he left his physical body. The eighth one is the Braknek Maitreya Buddha. It is a Buddha depicted as sitting cross-legged underneath a multiple-headed, hooded serpent that is called beneath him and thus protects him. Nik means dragon and Brak means to cover something.
Historical background. The Funan Empire is a commercial society centered on the Mekong Delta, or now the Vietnamese territory, that flourished from the 1st to 6th centuries AD and had extensive trade links across Southeast Asia, China, India, the Middle East, and even as far as the Mediterranean and Rome. It made up part of the flourishing coastal trade network which girdled Asia at that time, from the region of Canton to the Red Sea. Almost nothing of which survives today beyond the ruins of the supposed capital. The Angkor era. Funan gave way to the Angkor Empire with the rise to the power of King Jayavarman II in 802. In 600 years, powerful Khmer, or ethnic Cambodian kings with 26 monarchs in total, dominate much of the present-day Southeast Asia from the borders of Myanmar, east to South China Sea, and north to Laos. Most of the monarchs are more concerned with displaying and increasing their power than with the welfare of their subjects. Dark Age of Cambodia. During this period, kingdoms were constantly at war due to frequent invasions by the powerful Thai kingdom of Ayutthaya and incursions by Vietnamese forces. In the late 18th century, a civil war in Vietnam and disorder following the Burmese invasions of Ayutthaya spilled over into Cambodia and devastated the area. In the early 19th century, newly established dynasties in Vietnam and Thailand competed for control over the Cambodian court. The warfare that ensued beginning in the 1830s came close to destroying Cambodia. French rule. In the mid-16th century, Europeans arrived at Cambodia. Phnom Penh, its capital as planned by the French, came tumble down in provincial France. France rules Cambodia for 90 years. The administration neglected, educated but built roads, port facilities and other public works. Cambodia gains its independence peacefully in 1953 through skillful maneuvering of King Norodom Sihanouk, who later on ruled Cambodia through Geneva Accords of 1954. Democratic Kampuchea. Pol Pot is a pseudonym for the Cambodian guerrilla Commander Salot Sar, who organized the communist guerrilla force known as the Khmer Rouge, a brutal regime that ruled until 1979. In the mid to late 1970s, the Khmer Rouge murdered, worked to death, or killed by starvation close to 1.7 million Cambodians, more than one-fifth of the country's population. Pol Pot died in 1998, and by early 1999, most of the remaining Khmer Rouge troops and leaders had surrendered. The decline of the Khmer Kingdom in 13th to 14th century was probably associated with the rise of powerful Thai kingdoms and the population losses following a series of war and this kingdom and introduction of Theravada Buddhism. Materials. Angkorian builders used bricks, sandstone, stone, or mainly used for religious temples, laterite and wood, or for non-religious structures as their main materials. Due to destructive processes over the years, the wood elements in the structure had been decayed and washed out. Structure. The central sanctuary of an Angkorian temple was home to the temple's primary deity, the one whom the site was dedicated, typically Shiva or Vishnu in the case of a Hindu temple, Buddha of a Bodhisattva. In the case of the Buddhist temple, the deity was represented by a statue. Elements. The first element is bas-reliefs. It is individual figures, group of figures, or entire scenes cut into stone walls, not as drawings but as sculpted images projecting from a background. Second element is blind door and window. Angkorian shrines frequently opened in only one direction, typically to the east. The other three sides features fake or blind doors to maintain symmetry. Blind windows were often used along otherwise black walls. Corbelling. Angkorian engineers tended to use the corbel arc in order to construct rooms, passageway, and openings in buildings. It is constructed by adding layers of stones to the walls on either side of an opening, and each successive layer projecting further towards center than one supporting it from below, until two sides meet in the middle.
Colonnades. Narrow decorative columns that serves as supports for the beams and lintels above doorways or windows. They were round, rectangular, or octagonal in shape, depending on which period. Colonnades were often circled with molded rings and decorated with carved leaves. Lintel, pediment, and tympanum. Lintel is a horizontal beam connecting two vertical columns between which runs a door or a passageway. Because the Angkorian Khmer lacked the ability to construct a true arch, they constructed their passageway using lintels and corbelling. Pediment is roughly triangular structure above a lintel. Tympanium is a decorated surface of a pediment. Asparas and Devatas. Asparas, divine names or celestial dancing girls, are characters from Indian mythology. In modern descriptions of Angkorian temples, the term Aspara is sometimes used to refer not only dancers but also to other minor female deities, though minor female deities who are depicted standing are more commonly called Devatas. Their stairs are notoriously steep. Terapala, human or demonic temple guardians armed with lances and clubs. They are represented either as a stone of statues or a relief carvings in the walls of temples and other buildings generally close to the entrances or passageways. Their function is to protect the temples. Zima and Witchisi. Gahazima is a mythical animal with the body of a lion and a head of an elephant. In Angkor, it is portrayed as guardian of temples and as a mount for some warriors. Garuda. It is a divine being that is a half-man and a half-bird. He is the lord of the birds, the mythological enemy of Nagas, and the battle steed of Vishnu. Prominent structures. Angkor Wat, spread over sprawling 400 acres. Angkor Wat Temple Complex is among the largest religious Cambodia sites. Built in 12th century, the main temple of Angkor Wat was dedicated to Vishnu, which later converted to a Buddhist temple in later years. Built by King Suryavarman II, it is a masterpiece of the Angkorian architecture and made up of sandstones. It is the world's largest religious building. Angkor Thom. Angkor Thom is the last and longest capital city of the Khmer Empire. It was built in the 12th century by King Yavarman VII. It is constructed in a Bayon style, indicating the size of the building, the main material being beasts, the human faces, and the Naga statue of each tower. The two sides of the road to Angkor and statues who embrace the body of the seven-headed snake, 700 meters long. There are 5 entrances to the city from 4 directions. The Bayon Temple is the center. The top of each entrance is 4 giant faces carved into the stone. The South Gate is one of the famous landmarks of Angkor and also the main entrance of tourists. Bayon Temple, regarded as one of the most famous religious Cambodian monuments, it is located at the center of the ancient city of Angkor Thom. It is a mountain temple constructed by King Jayavarman VII to represent Mount Meru, the center of the universe as per the Buddhist and Hindu cosmology. A Buddhist temple turned to a Hindu religious site dedicated to Shiva and Vishnu.
Banti Siri. Built with pink-colored rocks, this temple boasts of finest stone carvings and most intricate sculptures of various gods and goddesses. Legend has it that unlike other temples, Banti Siri was not commissioned by a king but a Brahmin, who was the mentor of King Jayavarman V. It is believed that the temple was built by a woman, for its name means Citadel of Woman. It was completed in the 10th century. It has 3 central towers, richly decorated libraries, and beautiful filigree relief work on the walls and pillars, dedicated to Lord Shiva and one of the prime attractions of Angkor Thom. Lolei Temple. This is the third and northernmost temple of Rolus group, the other 2 being Pre-Ko and the Baikong temples, and owned as an island temple. It was built in the late 9th century on an island of Barai Indratadaka Lake, which have completely dried up now. There are four temple towers, beautifully decorated with false doors and central lines. It was a Hindu temple dedicated to Shiva. The temple has sculptures of Indra the sky, God mountain, on his elephant Airavata, multi-headed snakes, and serpent-like monsters like Makaras. Preya Vihir Temple. It is an ancient Hindu temple constructed during the reign of Khmer Empire, decorated with incredible sculptures, dedicated to Lord Shiva, and took 300 years to complete, and it was built by multiple Khmer rulers like Yasovarman, Suryavarman I, and Suryavarman II, one of the most popular temples of Cambodia and another World Heritage Site by UNESCO. Preya Vihir Temple consists of a series of sanctuaries connected by a number of pavements and staircases, resting on an 800-meter-long axis. Its unique architectural pattern made it stand out from the rest. Baksay Chamkro. This 10th century temple is located near the south gate of Angkor Thom. The temple resembles a pyramid and has a beautifully decorated Prasat tower at the top and a Hindu sanctuary dedicated to Lord Shiva. The construction of the temple was started by King Harshavarman and finally completed by Rajendravarman. This gorgeous temple is made of lateritic rocks and sandstone, has steep staircases on all sides, and magnificently fascinating gopura structures and sculpture of Indra and Airavata.
Royal Palace. The Royal Palace of Cambodia is a complex of buildings where the Royal Kingdom of Cambodia was built more than a century ago to serve the monarch, royal families, and foreign guests. The whole building is solidly built, including many towering pyramids, a typical architecture of Cambodia. It consists of a complex of relics, including the Royal Palace and the Silver Pagoda. It's a combination of many other architectural works and gardens with many decorative flowers that are years old. Royal Palace and Silver Pagoda create an architectural ensemble that are symbols of Cambodia.